Hey, I was reminded of a funny thing that happened in the MTC, and I know I already talked about my mission, but I really just wanted to kind of talk about the MTC because I was like really really fun experience for me, even though it was really hard. And because what was fun about it was like I was exposed to a lot of people that were just like hilarious. You know, like in the mission field, you just have your district, and it's like very like close and small, and it's just like whatever. But in the MTC, you also have like you have your whole zone, and you just kind of like hang out as this like huge like 30 people group, I guess. And even like at lunch, you all sit together, and it's really fun. So, anyway, so I just wanted to talk about kind of some of the funny things that happened in the MTC. I wish I had written down all of the funny quotes that one of the elders said because he was flippin' hilarious. And I think my MTC companion has a copy of like she wrote down some of his quotes. I hope she did because I don't remember all of them. The one that I was reminded of today because I have this online art class, and so we once a week we meet and we have like a discussion or whatever, but we like pray at the beginning and at the end. So towards the toward at the end, I said the closing prayer, and one of the girls was like, it was really weird because like the teacher said amen before she did, and it sounded like she was like, whoa, you're interrupting her prayer. And it just reminded me of this one time. Okay, so I had a German companion in the MTC, and for our nightly prayers she would pray in German because it was more comfortable for her. And I was like, yeah, sure, you can pray in German. So I didn't quite understand everything she said, but I got the gist of it. And so at this point in the mission, they like, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks in. I don't remember exactly how far into the MTC we were. I had heard her pray so many times that I understood when she was saying, like, we thank thee for thy son, Jesus Christ. Because, like I had to, like, keep listening to see if she was going to say amen, right? And she says it a little bit, the German amen is a little bit different, and I don't remember exactly what it sounds like, but it's, like, obvious that it's amen, right? So I would just wait for that. And so, like, then I knew when she was saying, I thank thee for thy son, Jesus Christ, we thank thee for thy son, Jesus Christ, because then it was different. There were different words involved, and it had a different kind of tone to it. So I knew when this was. And so one day, the teacher asked her to pray for class. I guess it was towards the end of class, or towards the beginning. I don't remember. It must have been towards the beginning because that was the time, like, we would... I don't remember, but it was really funny. So she was praying, and she said, like, in German, like normal, you know, we thank thee for thy son, Jesus Christ. And then, like, right after she said, Jesus Christ, one of the elders said, amen. And this is the same elder. He said, like, a ton of funny stuff. And we had, like, some goofball elders in our district. So the taller one was the one that said funny stuff all the time, and the shorter one, he was a ginger and short, so I made fun of him a little bit, but he was a good sport about it. Like, I have this like problem where if I know somebody who has red hair, like I don't know where I get these jokes either. Like, they just pop into my head. I get, like, redhead jokes popping in whenever there's, like, especially if it's a guy. Like, girls, I don't have as much of a problem, but guys, I always have this problem. So, like, because I was in this district with him, like, if he said something and I would, like, something would pop into my head and I would think, oh, that's hilarious. I have to say it, you know? And so, like, one time... okay, so I've got two instances of this that were particularly funny that I still remember. The first one, he was talking about his family to one of the other sisters in the district, and he said, yeah, all of my brothers and sisters are shorter than me. And I said, oh, so they're all leprechauns, because he's, like, not too much taller than I am, and I'm only, like, 5'2". And he was like, ha ha, I'm the only redhead. And I was like, oh. And then later, he and he was on an exchange with one of the other elders because the other elders had left to go get their visas, I think. And so they were on exchanges, and the two of them had, like, we're just sitting in our classroom, talking about some girl. I don't really know what was going on, like, exactly, but they were talking about, like, the elder was like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think she's interested in me. And then, like, the other elder says, well, she's probably just not thirsty for you. And, like, I thought that was the weirdest thing for somebody to say about a girl having feelings for a guy. And so, but, like, the first thing that popped into my head, though, was Fanta. So I said, maybe she just doesn't like Fanta. And he got up and left the room without his companion. And his companion was like, wait. And so we went to see where he went. He went into the bathroom. Apparently he just really had to pee. I was like, I am so sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? He was like, no, I just had to pee. I was like, are you sure you're okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. But it was so funny. I have the worst jokes pop into my head at the worst moments. Anyway, so his usual companion, he and his usual companion were goofballs. They swapped two of the sisters' name tags, and nobody noticed. Like, I didn't even notice, and one of them was my companion. They swapped my companion and one of the girls from the other district, or from the other companionship. And like, they went, like, because it was on their coats, so they didn't, like, switch. Like, they didn't take it off and look at it. They just left it on their coats all the time. And so for like 2 days they wore each other's name tags, and that was really funny. And nobody noticed. And then we wanted to get them back for it, but they didn't have, like, the elders don't have pin tags. They have no, they don't have magnet tags. They have pin. I'm trying to remember. What did they have? Because it would have made it more difficult the way we had planned it or something. Like, one of them had theirs on a clip and the other one didn't, and they were two different types of tags, so, like, we couldn't, like, switch them in a certain way. I can't remember what the problem was. Like, one of them had a pin tag, and the other one, I don't remember what was going on. And the pin tag, one of them had a pin tag on the alligator clip, and the other one didn't. I don't really remember. It was something complicated like that. So we were like, let's not do it because it would just take too long. By the time we finish it, they would already be back, and then they would know. So it wouldn't be as fun. And the same elder, hold on, let me think if I can remember his name. There's Anciano Smith and Anciano Gardner. I kept thinking of a K, and that's because that's his first name. We knew all the elders' names except for one, and it was one of the elders in the Romanian district, and that's because he was like, he was like mysterious. He never, like, told anybody his name. All the other elders, it was like Blair Houck, Nick Oldham, and so on. I don't know. Like, there were a lot of them. And they had some, like, some of them had interesting names, like Blair. It was really funny. My companion was like, he's got such a prince name. He even has a prince face. He looks like the prince from from Shrek. He looks like the prince from Shrek. And I was just like, are you sure? But, like, he had, like, the same blonde hair, but it was, like, really, really short, like elders do, but he also had it, like, spiked up in the front a little bit. And I didn't really see any other resemblance besides blonde hair. It was really funny to me, though, that she, like, thought of him as a prince, and he even had, like, his own little, like, mirror thing that he carried around, like, the little, like, pocket mirrors that flip out, and so he would pretend it was, like, a cell phone. And it was really funny because he would, like, flip it open like this, and then put it up to his ear, and, like, he's like, oh, hey, Mom, geez, you want to talk to her again? Okay, fine. I see you love me. And so he would pretend that his mom had called him and wanted to talk to one of the sisters. And it was just really funny. That he did it all the time. It was so funny. And then sometimes he would like flip it out and like sneak down the hallway like he was a spy with a knife in his hand or something. I don't know. Or a gun. He pretended it was a gun. And he would like sneak down the hallway like this. And it was just the funniest thing. And then we had, let's see. We had a couple, like the elders in our zone, especially the ones from Romania, like they like to play games. I don't know if I mentioned these last time. So like, they had these like, they were like puzzly type games. So like one of them was polar bears around an ice hole, like around a hole in the ice, and like they had a party and this happened and that happened, and then they rolled the dice on the ice and it rolled a whatever number, and they're like, how many polar bears were there? And so everyone had to like guess, and then like I had no idea how they tried to like figure it out. Like I was like, I don't know how many polar bears were there, like I don't know. And then I had to Google that one when I got home. I was like so frustrated. I was just like, I can't figure this stupid game out. I did the same thing with Moon Moon Beautiful Moon. That one was a really frustrating one too. Like they did it all the time. And we were just like, I'm sick of this and let's play a different game. Like something that people actually know how to play. And then apparently, like with these games, like if you know how to play it, if everybody knows how to play it, then it's boring. So the point is you want to find people who don't know how to play and then like see if you can get them to figure it out. The only one that I figured out was the triangle game. So it's like if A is Captain America's head and B is the window, then what is C? You know, like things like that. And then you'd have to like pick something in the room and say, is it that chair over there? And they'd be like, nope. And then like somebody would be like, they had like certain rules, and like if you got it right, then they'd be like, yeah, C is that suitcase over there or whatever. Like I'm just pointing out stuff in my room that you guys can't see. So then that one I figured out one lunch or breakfast time. Like we were heading out of the cafeteria, and one of them said something, and I was like, wait a second, I think I know how to solve this one. And then I just tried it out, and I was like, I know it! It was like the only one that I figured out because it was the easiest one. The rest of them I was like, Then there was like snaps, and I knew the snaps stood for letters, but I couldn't figure out which ones. And so I was like, I don't know like what's going on. The easiest one that I figured out was banana, but after, like that was the only one I could figure out. The rest of them I was like, I don't know what this is, you know. And and then like there was the umbrella game, and that one was a little bit harder. Like I used to do like Silly Sally or whatever. It was on the kids show called Zoom, and the game was called Fanny Dooley. That was the name of the girl. It was like instead of Silly Sally, it was Fanny Dooley, and they would do the little rhyme FANNWEDOOLLEE. That's how they did it. But anyway, so they would say like Fanny Dooley likes apples, but she doesn't like fruit, things like that. And so, and I never figured that out because I was like really young when Zoom was out, and I was, and then like they stopped doing it after a while, and or like we just didn't have the channel anymore. I don't remember. I remember the oobleck thing. Oobleck was fun. We made a huge mess out of like I think we used like all of our cornstarch that was in the house. I'm just glad cornstarch is cheap because we made a huge mess out of that crap. And we ended up using way too much water. Like we didn't know how to do it. We're just like, let's do this. Anyway, sidetrack. I told you guys about the story in the Hand of Farron. I actually got injured like 3 times in yeah, like 3 times in the MTC. The first time I actually just got shin splints, and I think it was because I was like, I don't really exercise like at all, and so I just picked like the easiest thing for me to do in the gym, and that was like running on the track. But I didn't actually run; I like jogged, and somehow like this stretched my leg muscles too much or something, and gave me shin splints. And because like what I've heard is like the muscles kind of go like this and pull away from the bone, and that's what shin splints are, is the muscle pulling away from the bone, and so you have to like let it heal before you can actually like run again. And so for a long time, like most of the time that I was in the MTC, I was walking like I couldn't jog, I just walked. So my exercise became walking very slowly up and down the stairs. And then the second and third time I got injured, both times were the only 2 times that I played a sport. That was volleyball. The first time, it wasn't like a lasting injury because like I already have carpal tunnel syndrome. It just doesn't it doesn't show up as much as it used to, like because I used to type a lot or write a lot, and so what happened was I would serve, and it would hit right like in the soft spot of my wrist, and it would hurt my wrist, the back of my elbow, and the back of my shoulder. And like every time I served, and I was like, ugh, I can't do this. So like the second time I decided to play, like probably a week or 2 later, I was like, okay, I can play, but I can't serve because I injured myself. And they're like, okay, so they just skipped me in the rounds or whatever. And at one point, the volleyball was coming right for me, so I was just gonna go for it because I was like practically under it already. And my companion comes up like beside me, and I can't see her coming in. I hear her say she's got it, but I'm like right under it, so like I can't move out of the way. So I'm still going for it by the time she comes in, and her arms came right across my wrists. And so what happened was the ball came down and hit her wrists, which hit my wrist, and it hit like right in this soft spot, like next to my thumb. And I guess it hit a nerve or something because it hurt all the way up my thumb for like 2 days. And so that's why I don't play sports. Well, that's why I don't play sports now. Why I didn't play sports before was because my head is a ball magnet. Like, and that was one of the reasons I was nervous to play volleyball in the first place, because they had 2 different volleyball courts. And I could watch the ball that we were playing with, but if I did, then I wouldn't be able to see the ball that was kind of like on the side. So every time like I could see it flying out of my peripherals, it would just be like flying across the net on the other side of the gym, but I could still like see it. And so every time I saw it kind of come this way, I went, or actually I ducked away from it. But yeah, it came in and I would go like this, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get hit. But like it was never anywhere near me. I just didn't, like, that was my mentality because I have been hit in the head before, and I wasn't even playing. So like the first time this happened, these are the only 2 that I remember off the top of my head. The first time this happened, it was at a youth activity, and people were playing volleyball, and I was on the stage with my mom and her friend, and we were talking. I was facing the court, and my mom and her friend were on either side of me. I'm going to move back so I can have more arm movements. Okay. So my mom and her friend were on either side of me, and I was looking this way, and the ball came out of this way and hit me in the head. And everybody was laughing. Everyone was dying. And I was like, it couldn't have been that funny that it hit me in the head. So I kind of asked around afterwards, and it turned out... Hold on, let me move this down. And it turned out... Sorry, my bed's a mess. This is my turn. And it turned out that that the ball, somebody hit it on this side of the court, and then it went over the net, hit somebody, hit the wall, and then hit me in the head. And that's why it was funny. But that also tells you how much bad luck I have with sports. Second time this happened, I was at my friend's house. They have a tennis court in their backyard, and it's at a way lower level than everything else. So like this is like the tennis court, and then they have like their like normal backyard with the grass and stuff. And then like at this level, it's more like this way. And then on this side, there's like a patio, and it's a little bit higher than the grass level. And the patio is like it's like concrete, and they have little like garden patches and stuff, but it's mostly just concrete and it's flat. And that's where they have like a fire pit and stuff. We were at a party at their house, and their youngest kid was playing in the tennis court with a tennis racket and a tennis ball. And I was actually just recounting that story of getting hit in the head with a volleyball to my friends. I had one friend on this side and like two friends on this side. And then all of a sudden, I get smacked in the forehead by a tennis ball that had been hit over the wall up to the second level of the backyard, over the wall, and it hit me right in the middle of the forehead. And it was this like 6-year-old kid, like, that had just smacked it into my face. And everybody started laughing because I had just told the story of the other thing. So like, that's why I don't play sports. And also because I don't like to run. Running is no fun. Anyway, so I have been rambling along because I don't really have a topic. I kind of was starting with the MTC, and I kind of just like moved along. I could go back to the MTC. I met quite a few English girls and like a couple of like deaf and hard of hearing people. But the English girls, like, they all like kind of had their own little clique or whatever because they knew each other from before. There was one girl that was Welsh though. She was really nice. I don't remember her last name, but her first name was Devon. I kind of wish I remembered her last name so I could like still email her, but I forgot. Then there was the deaf girl that was there. I don't remember her name either. She was there for most of the time that I was there. And then she left a couple weeks before we left. Or maybe 1 week. And then that week, they brought in a whole new batch of like ASL missionaries, including like 9 deaf girls and like 3 or 4 deaf guys. And it was really, like, I was just so sad. I was like, I just wanted to have ASL buddies. And like, I just had the one deaf girl, and I only saw her like once a week maybe at like devotional. And that was sad. And I also, like, funny story, so I didn't ever get to perform at the MTC because the songs, like, I couldn't think of a good song. The one that I had running through my head was so long I couldn't remember all of the words. And so, like, they want you to have all the words memorized. They want you to have a pianist who knows what they're doing. Apparently, my pianist, which was one of the elders in my district, didn't know what he was doing. Like, it's because he was playing all the notes instead of, like, playing chords. Like, because it was Master the Tempest is Raging, and the song goes so fast that it's just easier to play all the chords instead of playing the every note. And it's easier for the singer to, like, kind of have more leeway, I guess. And so we didn't get in because I didn't have all the words memorized, and because, like, I had tried. Like, I went over it and over it and over it. And this was for the talent show, too, so there was, like, tons of space for people to get in. But I didn't get in because I didn't know all the words, and because my pianist didn't know what he was doing, even though he kind of did. I don't know. It was weird. So that was like my only shot. I didn't get in. That's cool. Whatever. Their loss. Speaking of that, I have to think of a hymn for a sacrament meeting for not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Because I asked if I could sing, and I was going to sing something in Italian, but the bishop prefers that I sing in English. So now I have to think of a different hymn. Anyway. Anything else I can think of? There were, like, Oh, one of the funniest things that happened to me personally in the MTC was I kept seeing familiar faces like all over the place and I couldn't place them at all. And there was this one particular elder, and every time I saw him, I was like, I know him from somewhere. I know him from somewhere. And I don't know why I know him from somewhere. And so finally, like one day, like during lunch or breakfast or something, he walked past me. I was like, wait, I think I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where. And he looked at me and he goes, did you go to BYU, Idaho? And I was like, yes. And he says, did you take beauty and creativity humanities? And I was like, yes. And he said, did you take it from Rick Davis? And I was like, I think so. And then he said, we probably were in the same class. And I was like, okay. And then I remembered that he was the guy that I, like, when I walked into the class, I thought, like, he was the guy that I looked at and thought, yay, we have a cute guy in this class. But he always sat in the back row, and well, not in the back row, but he was, like, in the 6th row, and I was always in, like, the 3rd row. And then, like, the teacher assigned us seats, and so, like, it was always, like, anyway. So then I was like, oh, crap. But then it was funny to me that he remembered who I was. And then, like, also he like, I said, do you remember that project we had to do with the straws? And he was like, yeah. And I said, I made a necklace. And he was like, and I thought the necklace thing was kind of lame. And he was like, that was you? And I was like, whoa, what happened? He said, he was like nonstop. Like, this is the epitome of art. And I was like, what? Like, I missed that class because I wasn't feeling well that day. And so I missed the entire, like, presentation that the teacher had with all the pictures of the things that people had done with their straws. Like, basically, you just take a red straw, like, from a gas station or whatever, and then you, like, turn it into something else. And that was the point, was to make it not look like a straw anymore. So I made it into a necklace because that was the first thing I thought of, because when I was little, my dad took a straw and he made it into, like, this really long loop, like you could wear it as a necklace. And I didn't like the way it looked the first time, like the way he did it, I guess, when I was trying it out. And I was like, okay, well, this doesn't look very good. So then I did it a different way and made it in like a choker necklace, and it looked really cool. So I was like, I like this one. I'm going to take a picture of it and send it in. So my roommate was my model. And so I sent it in, and the teacher, like, he really liked it. I think I got, like, extra credit for it because I had turned it in late, but he gave me all the missing points back just for, like, having done it so well, apparently. And, like, the day after the presentation, the next class day after the presentation, I wore the bracelet version of it from the straw that broke, because I had 2 different straws, and the one that I did was like a straw that broke, so I was like, this will be a bracelet. So I wore that to class, and he was like, do you mind if I keep that? You know, like, do you mind if I keep that when you're done with it? I was like, well, it itches, you can have it. And so that was my side. Apparently, when they were having the class, he was praising it, and I was like, okay, that's weird. This was one of my favorite classes. I had like maybe 2 or 3 favorite classes. I'll go into one of them later. I have the teacher's name in my little topic jar, so that'll be later. But this particular class was funny. We had like different units where we like did photography. We did a unit of photography, and we did a unit of like music, and like we talked about history a lot. So that he picked one random guy that was like right in the middle of the front row and called him Pope Clayton, because like he was like, hey, what's your name? He goes, Clayton. And he says, okay, so the Pope Clayton. And every time he talked about the Pope, like he would talk about Greeks and like Apollo and Dionysus, like as in he would like do the kind of like shoulder demon things, like the shoulder devil, shoulder angel, and he would call them like Apollo and Dionysus. Like on the normal days of the week, you're gonna be like your Apollo best or whatever, but then when Saturday comes around, you're gonna be like Dionysus or whatever, like something like that. He would pull that kind of stuff in, and then whenever he talked about the Pope, he would point to Clayton and go, Pope Clayton, and then and he would like sometimes do this like little bow thing, and it was just hilarious. Like he was being totally goofy about it. And And like, I just love this teacher. He was so funny. He's also, what's funny about him is he has 3 jobs. So he works at the school as a teacher. Like, I think it's part-time kind of thing where he just teaches particular classes, like 1 or 2 particular classes. I'm not really sure. He works as a wedding photographer, which is why we had a photography unit, and why like I'm like actually really interested in photography now, because I know how to take a portrait and I can make it look good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks really awesome, and I want to be able to do this all the time. So there's that. And he's also a coroner. So sometimes his phone would ring, and like we would all kind of like look around, and he would like, 1 second, and he'd like go step out and check his phone or like answer it, and like, and then he'd come back in and he'd go, it's okay, it's not my other job, class is not canceled. And so like, but sometimes like apparently this has happened before where like they need the coroner in the middle of a class, and so they'll just finish, like that's the end of the class, he leaves and takes care of business with poor dead people. But that was like his other job. And so like whenever the phone rang, we kind of like looked at each other like, uh-oh, did somebody die, you know? And it's not funny, but somehow it kind of is, that like he had to like leave, like every time his phone rang he would leave the room. And anyway, and he had like these really cool like art pieces on the walls. I always stared at this one, and I think it was like a bowl of fruit or something, but it wasn't like any old bowl of fruit. It was like watercolor, and it looked really cool. And then there were like a couple of prints too. Like there were originals, there were a couple of originals by like non-famous people, and then there were some prints, like somebody had like cut out something and then stamped it on a piece of paper. And he had a few of those. And I'm trying to think if there were other ones. I can't really remember them all very well. The prints were really like impressive though, because like they had all these, like the details were all in like really thin lines. Like it's like a dollar bill. Like when you look at a dollar bill, you don't really pay attention, but if you look close, there's like a ton of like little lines and stuff all over the place. And that's like kind of what the print was. And it looked really cool. I think that's it. I think I'm done talking now. But yeah, this is kind of like a bonus type video because I just wanted to talk about certain things, and then other things popped into my head, so I just followed the train, you know. Like I don't really, there is no track in my brain, so when I lose my train of thought, it's really just gone off into the distance without any tracks. It just goes wherever it wants to. So like, I don't know, that's just what happens in my brain. So yeah, I guess I will I'm gonna probably try and do another one later this week with one of the topics from the jar, just so it'll still be kind of a bi-weekly thing. And I realized recently that bi-weekly in my head, at first I thought it was twice a week, and then I realized it was probably once every 2 weeks. And then I googled it, and apparently the second definition is twice a week, but I think that came in after some misunderstanding of what bi-weekly means. Like, so in my head, bi-weekly actually means once every 2 weeks, but I still say it the other way because it means the other thing to everybody else, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye!